actually going to make a film collage. You already know I shoot a lot of expired films, but I also love these vintage designs, and I'm trying to, showcase the beauty of these boxes in a different context. But yeah, as you can see, we're in a new studio. It's almost ready, and yeah, let's just set up our table and start making a film collage. Now, when I'm usually doing a collage, I kind of have an idea with what I'm going for. Not necessarily with this one, but one of the first steps is to find the frame. Usually they're like a standardized size. This is 18 by 24 centimeters. I just unpack this. As you can see, you have this cardboard frame on which I'm going to just put my entire collage. I'm just gonna glue it to that. So now with that out of the way, first I do cut this into pieces. And you can see like my cuts are not perfectly straight or anything like that. I'm not even trying to do that. I'm just trying to get the bits of information that I need and the visual rhythm. Like this is a very important part of the design. I think this small bit should be somewhere in the middle of the design, or we need to somehow emphasize this logo, because this is what talks about the film the most. It's a Transcender Film, which is a company that doesn't exist anymore and doesn't produce film anymore. It originated in Germany, and I think, I'm not sure when did this expire. Let's see. This one expired in April '62, so the company still worked back then. Now that I have all bits and pieces cut, we're going to be looking for a base for this frame, and we'll take each book one by one and see what works with it. I usually go by feeling, but that feeling is a trained one, let's say. I am not just looking randomly. I'm usually pairing this with something that's of the same color, or that's complementary, or that's maybe something that looks from the same age or the same style. For these crayons, for example, we have a lot of red and a lot of contrast and text, so something with more images might work. Usually these collages take anywhere from 2 hours to like even 8 hours sometimes, and sometimes this entire process is therapeutic in a sense for me. Other times I'm just trying to finish what I started, because it's hard to get that perfect composition, I'm usually searching for that perfect composition. Yeah, so right now nothing really sticks with me from this book, but we'll keep on flipping through these pages. See, I like these colors, but the image is not big enough, I think. 20% of the work is actually getting the first pages on, gluing them together, and mostly, researching, just looking around, flipping through, see what sticks. Sometimes I just have an image in my mind and it's much easier to just, find it. But right now, when we don't really have that that idea, it's hard to find something that fits or to make that connection, in a sense. A lot of these things could fit or could work, but it's up to us to decide which one, will be used. Ooh, red on red kind of works. I might just, cut these pages that I found to be working just a little bit, just to have them. But as you can see, this one is kind of smaller than our base right here. And it doesn't have to be nice necessarily. Just have to rip it. Okay, this is it. Let's see. This blueprint really looks good. And blue thread would work. So I found a nice way to rip this page. And usually I just have a lot of these images just laying around already cut from previous collages. There are a lot of resources here, and I could use something that I already have, but these books I just bought recently, and I'm excited to just flip through them and see what I find, and then maybe combine them. Yeah, so we're done with this book. I don't think the cars really fit this theme necessarily, but now let's flip through our other stuff. Even though this is German film, doesn't really matter. Not really. Now we're looking through American ads from the 60s, so it's the same period this film expired. And doesn't matter, it's not the same country, because in a sense it's from the same era, and that's kind of what matters. They have the same. Usually things have a particular color palette or a particular style that is used in the 60s, in the 70s, and so on. Now, well, I'm not finding this inspiring for this particular thing. Next. Oh, this is a big boy. All American ads from the 70s by Taschen. This is a very good publisher, especially for art books and stuff like this. And it's perfect for my collages. Now, you might look into this book because the size is kind of the same of our frame there, so it will cover everything. Next up, fashion. I'm not sure we're going to find anything useful here, but let's go. Let's give it a shot. Yeah, now we need something more monochromatic for this particular film roll, I feel like. I might also just take a quick look through my things that I already have. And mind you, there are a lot of things here. Some Konica playing cards. So as you can see, I already have a lot of cutouts here. For example, this is the same color palette, but I'm not sure I want to do this. I'm gonna put aside some of the elements I think might work with this. But as you can see, this is a pretty long process, and mostly just trying to curate the elements you're going to form the collage with. Yeah, so we're going to either monochromatic or black and white, sepia, or just everything with red, really. It's kind of the same with the design, so it works well in conjunction with that. It's a very old newspaper. So a lot of things to stroll through and just see what sticks. So I'm trying to find some sense of composition first, because right now it's just chaos and nothing really works in my mind, nothing really sticks. But honestly, if I feel like I'm uninspired, I might just skip this session and come back to it later. When things prove itself to be worth pursuing. So like this is some very symmetrical design right now. This idea might work. What I like to do when I'm, looking out for designs, I just take a photo of my assembly, then just edit it, crop it as it would be the frame itself, and then have it as a reference for the future. Like this is where the paper would end usually, right about here. So this is like our first idea here. This would be like our first design. And then I just actually pondered, see if I would add anything else, move things around. Like this is decent, but I feel like this contrast is lacking, even though it's good, kind of works. This area kind of lacks. I'll have this textured thing here that might work. Let's see. So I never just glue things in place, only when I have like this base just set on my mind. Otherwise I'll just keep moving things around, until I land on something that I like. So we're going to do the same thing. Crop this to get like a rough idea of how it would look. Something like this, and then compare it. Like this has so much such a strong sense of symmetry that kind of looks better, but this chaos is going somewhere, like your eye kind of goes like this, almost in a spiral, which I kind of like, but this would require a lot more elements around the frame to make it more interesting. Now we can add those. Let's see what we have around here. Now usually for my work I just use like this Bison universal hobby glue. Nothing fancy, this just works, and I never had an issue with it so far. Now I have smaller elements, around here that I might be able to use and just add here and there randomly. So I'm looking for them to see what would stick with this. I also have like old pieces left from other films just laying around. Yeah, these boxes are just filled. These trays are filled with a lot of elements. Very small cutouts, stickers, everything. And sometimes it's hard to just find something that works really. It's a thing of trying things out, of mixing and matching. But honestly, right now being in front of the camera is not that much of a how should I say, a therapeutical process anymore. I'm just trying to find something that looks good, which might in turn just do the opposite, and I'll just drop this and come back to it later, because I'm feeling a bit uninspired, if I'm being honest. This gold foil could work somewhere. Have some other red elements and some other black ones. See if we can add them around. But yeah, I feel like I should let this one sit a little bit and come back later to it, and then we'll figure it out and just lay everything and glue it. And now, because I couldn't find something that would really fit, I brought in the heavy artillery, which is this huge, enormous book called Film Posters of the Avant-Garde, of the Russian Avant-Garde, which is a huge book, very expensive, but man, it's worth every penny, because these designs are just something else. The design was uncontestably in a league of its own, so that's what we're going to look after. Things that would work with our film and with our composition. And usually when I look at them, I just get a strong feeling of composition, and that can inspire me to, make a collage. And sometimes like 50% of the work is already completed just by having this poster used in the final collage, It has such a strong sense of composition, color, and just design elements that really work. And typography is insane. For example, I really love this one, and they're huge. This book is very, very big, and that will provide us with a lot of space for our film, and can easily fill in our frame that we have. I usually have bigger frames as well, but this one is like among the last I have left, so this could work. We'll see. And these are just movie posters. But again, just look at the overall design of this, and the composition is just insane. Again, the use of colors. Okay, I think that's all for this, all from this book. Sometimes I find that, classical paintings usually work with this somewhat abstract, some are just type design, and these things, these things that shouldn't really belong together, See, like, this kind of works. Like, I might use something like this. So again, it's a lot of just searching. Here I have a lot of vintage elements. And now something might draw my attention to it and be like, yeah, this could fit within our design. But not today, not this one. Or a book about Thomas Edison, which we got for $10 at a library in Austria. It's a very, very well illustrated book with a lot of vintage imagery, that sometimes really works with some collages. But again, for this one, I kind of have my mind set, to be honest. Kind of like this color palette, but this also looks good. So I already have this photographed, so I don't need to, keep it here. And this is why I don't glue anything until I have every element, like locked, or at least all the previous elements locked. So like this is kind of bigger than our frame, so I need to see how I'm going to reframe it. But I want to have a look at it, before deciding. Before deciding which base do I go with, This kind of gives me, just bending this kind of gives me an idea where the edges would be, so I don't, go over that. So I have a sense of composition. I love covering eyes, I don't know why, but I see this in other people's work as well. It's pretty common, I think, but has a lot of impact. Seems like the black one here. See, it's mostly now a thing of where you're going to place your elements that shouldn't fit within the frame. And you might not notice, but I really have a strong sense of composition, and not necessarily composition, but of coherence. Coherence is a term used in semiotics to describe when in a space everything just belongs there. So within this frame, every element that I add just kind of belongs there. It doesn't feel weird. Or if it does, it's there, with the purpose of drawing attention to that. What I'm going to do is just to round the corners of this logo, as I think it can very well fit within that cup. Now this is kind of a destructive process, because once we're cutting these, we're not going to add them back, but I think this will look indeed better if it's rounded than not rounded. I'm not trying to make it perfect, but at least a little bit. And usually when I'm done with the collage, it's just an entire mess everywhere. So I'm not even gonna bother cleaning that, because that's how I usually work. Could even work here as a pendant. Yeah, as a necklace. Kind of looks good. It's mostly about experimenting. Where should everything fit within this frame? Or if they don't fit, I'm just not gonna add them. I'm just gonna throw these away. And as I usually do, I'll take that photo, crop this and then see whether I need to add something else, or if this composition doesn't work. But honestly, I really love the colors on this. Even though it's off-center, if we compare it with the previous one, there are two different styles. And I think this one is not going to happen. So it's, now I have a choice to make. I go either with this and build around it because it's not done, or go with this. And that's sometimes having all these choices, it's very hard because I wish I could make all of them, But then let's not also discard this one. So we're keeping that in mind. But I also like how this looks, even though it's like an Asian movie, but with a Russian design poster. So a lot of things that are not coherent here, like have Germany, Russia, and Asia. I'm not sure if they're Chinese or Japanese. No, or I think they're Korean. I might be wrong, so forgive me if I'm mistaken. Let's see if this works. Because already here we have a very strong sense of composition. We just need to fill in the gaps, in a sense, Sometimes this process can be just moving things around and not really getting anywhere, but at the end you get to have an image that it's maybe worth showcasing, and that's what I'm striving for here. See what I meant about the things by covering eyes? It just kind of works. Now let's see, I'm not feeling as good about this design as the others, but we'll just edit it for the just to showcase the process, Straighten that up and crop it. I think it's around here. Okay. So you see another different style. Now this, I'm not sure, like the color is good, like the color works for this one, but I feel the composition doesn't, and the elements as well. So this is very impactful, and this as well, this is like very contrasting. So this could work from a contrast point of view, but this can work from a, let's say, color point of view. And I can really fill the frame with different elements that do not belong here and make it even more highlighted in a sense, you know, and so the more I photograph something, the more I realize I'm going to stick with this composition over this. But again, this is so striking. But I think this is like much easier and lazy as a composition than trying to create something around this. And you see, we can go like off to this side or off to that side because our frame is so small. I kind of like it to this side. And to this, they both work. They're both unique. See, like it's so weird. Could be doing this in so many ways. Because that works there. This can be. Oh, this can work perfectly here. Okay, just have a general idea. Okay, so now that I have a general sense of where I want to go with this, and I've chosen the second composition we've done, the one which is offset like this, I'm going to first, glue this. So let's create some space around here. Yeah, I know it looks good, but the cleaner it is, the less messier it's going to be for ourselves. So what I would usually do is just place some paper towels underneath this, just to not damage the table or, accidentally drop glue everywhere. Yeah, so I have this done. So what I usually like to do is just to place some paper towels underneath my frame, underneath the cardboard, and then actually glue our page that we decided to go with to this actual cardboard. And I can usually do that by sticking glue to the paper or to the cardboard itself. Now this is a very messy part of the whole thing of making a collage. Now this is the messy part of it because this glue usually gets everywhere, so I need to be careful when I'm actually gluing it. And it seems like the bottle glued onto itself at some point. So what I'm going to do now, the first step would be to place glue onto this cardboard, especially around the edges. And yeah, I'm usually doing a pretty good coating on this. Don't skim it off. Don't be economic with it, because you really need the base to be as well glued as possible, so it doesn't, unstick with time. So again, focusing on the edges as much as you can and having it all across our board. Now, with the age of AI, doing things with your hand is very, very satisfying. That's why I think I love making collages so much. There's something, intrinsically rewarding about working with your hands in general, and collages can do that, and it's basically making art. I used to not respect collages before, but I've changed my mind and my whole perspective on it. So what I'm trying to do now is just to level it and not get anything, overflowing too much, because it's gonna stick everywhere. Now what I need to do is actually press onto this so it glues on each side and each corner the best that we can. So as you can see, this is our composition that we're left with. I'm just gonna trim the edges so that they don't get in the way of our composition anymore. You know? Now we'll have a much more clear view of our corners in our composition at the same time. I like that it's, off-center. Now I kind of like that. Let me just clean the edges as well, because usually here is where the glue goes and can then stick to something else. I'm just pressing it all around the edges to make sure it's glued. Oh, this looks very good. So yeah, usually this overlapping of classical paintings works extremely well with these designs, with these just box designs. Now I'm not going to lock anything in. Now we're actually going to work a lot on our positioning of the things around the entire frame. This is where layout comes in, and this is where, this is where placing our elements creates a different composition. Your eyes are going to be guided by the placing of these elements and the way they interact with each other, or with the color, or with the frame itself. So for example, this red interacts very well with the contrast and with the color that it's here, and with the placement of it as well. It's most like it almost looks like a stamp if we add it here. Now, here it didn't glue very well. I'll just press onto it a little bit more. So I think this piece works very well here is firstly because of the color around it. This is a very dark area and we have a bright red, just as the design of the box itself works, and because of its position, it's like the dot at the end of a sentence. This is how I look at it. Now the crayons film, I think it will work best here, as a color. And I think why that is because this is the branding of the actual film. This is the company that produced it, and it's like, wearing this actual heritage. You could actually, think of that. But I think it just works here. The eyes being covered by this is just great. I'm not gonna change that. And now we have more elements left to work with. Now we could add them or not, depending on how it would look. Right now I'm just playing with the rest of our elements and their placement, and see whether it works or not for this composition to add more or not. I think that place should be left alone there. This kind of creates another frame within the frame if you look at it. I think we had this pan here. Now let me look at the original one. So I had the pen down here, okay, and the 17 in the hand. So that looks, yeah, because of their size, this is like closer to something she would hold, to the proportions that the things she was holding. Okay. Now this I think we can work with, and we can cut it in multiple pieces. And we can also add some different elements that maybe are not, they're not from the same era, or they're from the same visual sphere. I think something like this could work well. Let's see where we could place that. For right now, I think this should or could be locked here. Let's see, there is also the thing where we placed it with the black side here because of this. It's like because it almost completes this black area with this. It's an extension of that. If we add it like this, now it's a bit more contrasty. So I'm not really sure how to place this either right now. So this is in the air. This will stay here, but we might find, a different position for it. So now what I'm trying to do is to find more elements that we could integrate. The golden foil I think would be perfect because she's holding gold. Maybe make her crown out of this gold foil. Yeah, that might be interesting. I think we're onto something. Also, like these red sigils could work. I'm not sure though. They're kind of low quality, low res. Let's see what else. We have like a white marker here, which we might use to, draw or color around these areas. Some golden one, which could also be useful around here. Let's see. There are so many things here. Well, that looks good, but it's not about Kodak right now, is it? Trying to find some small elements that could work here, could fit this within this composition. And there are so many things here that I don't know what I'm going to find, or if I'm going to find something. There are like hands, texts, a lot of stuff going on here. But I'm mostly looking for something that's color appropriate. It's either black and white, or that is, red. Maybe this could work. Something that can be easily integrated, feels like that belongs in this frame. Too many things. This is overwhelming. This is an overwhelming amount of things we have at our disposal. First look. That looks interesting. And I feel like this orange works perfectly. If you can make something, maybe like a shape, a rounded shape around there. Let's see. I think the purpose of this orange right here would be to draw our attention to something, and I'm not really finding that yet. That position, or to that something, that should draw us towards. This kind of reminds me of Nike. It's not bad. So yeah, now it's a question of finding small elements and small interactions within what we already have, which can be daunting. This can take a lot of time. This usually takes most of my time when dealing with a collage. Also, if I'm cutting this piece right now, then I won't be able to place it anywhere else. It could be around her head, but I'm not sure of that either. Or around here, but then we'll have no blue. Here there's... I'm also thinking of like a strip that goes around here. And maybe we just cut out her hands to be, outside this strip, this orange strip. Let's see how it looks. But yeah, by doing this, I won't be able to use the orange in other shapes, kind of restraining myself. And if it doesn't work, well, it doesn't work, If I'm doing this here, then how do I cut this cup? It's kind of what I want to do here, cutting out that cup, but that's kind of a difficult thing to do. Let's do it, but like in two steps, Maybe we just have a rough estimate, about it. Not necessarily perfect. That's pretty close. So how would this look? This is how we're going to do it. I think this is out for a second. Now if I'm looking at this doesn't work. I can already tell, so... This is this is good. I really like how it works. Then we have to find ways around it, but yeah, I think we should pursue this one. Okay, this looks good. Now let's see what we can do on the other side of it. Probably have to cut all this hand out if we can. But I will start from here first. At about here. Go a little bit and see how it looks. So I really need to cut out that hand, which is not going to be as easy. And make this thing straight. Well, I'm not the best at cutting in negative spaces like this, but doesn't really matter. It looks decent so far, and we can definitely use that. Now here I think we can use half of it like a ribbon. Could work there, somewhere else, we'll see. Maybe just move it here. This is perfect. Maybe just do that. And you see the design kind of changes as we progress through this entire collage. From this idea we're going here, Now we need to see how we're going to use this negative space that we have with the orange. The orange provides us a good, a good way of just drawing attention here. Look how this black looks. See, like this works. So finding some more black and white text I think could really work here. Have to take a look around some other things we have. Let's see first what we're going to lock in. I think these are going to be locked for sure. This should stay like this, I think. Yeah. Let's make this straighten it up. Has like a slight curl here. I think these will come really handy. Maybe just write on those, do some typography or something. Still not sure how to place everything else. Oh, a dark one could really work here, I think. Maybe just this. That works perfectly. I think I will cut this, and if I need it whole, I'll just glue it back. So this definitely stays here. This is perfect. I feel like it complements the edge perfectly. It's enough contrast. Says something about the film itself. Another thing that is very good in collages is repetition. So you have this pan. If you add it like this, like something very simple, it instantly draws you there. Or with the 70s, for example, I have 3 of them. So I can really do something with this, guide the composition around these ones, maybe. So I'm just playing now and seeing what would work best. I kind of like this one. See, we're going from something to something else entirely, but this band, this repetition guides us through here, and we get this information, this, and the only elements that are offset are this and this, which this is like a punctuation, and this is just for aesthetic purposes. Let's see what else we could do here. I would love a different text here, but something again black and white could really work here. I think this kind of throws it off. Not necessarily good. But again, we have this, which we could play with the repetition. And I think that we should. One disadvantage when doing this is that everything can move freely because it's not glued. Here's another repetition, but I'm not sure if that works. Now I feel like this crayons belongs here better, works here better, because everything is like flowing towards that. Whereas in the beginning here it looked way better, right? I'm really not sure where it will end up at the end of this. I'm just as surprised as you are. So again, we have a repetition. We could repeat things. I feel like this doesn't work. I feel like see, like flipping through them I really like how this looks now, but also this. Could also go for something like this, where this is just free. This is here, and this too. See what I mean through repetition? Bam bam, bam bam. And it looks so much more coherent. I like how everything fits now, but these pans should be somewhere else. Maybe here, and now we have a very strong left side. Read from left to right. So we might be getting somewhere. So we started from this, and now we're around here. So it's already starting to look like something very coherent, especially this, this shape that is forming right here, this slow spiral. I think keeping this clean here, it's part of the composition. This works way better if this area is clean. What about our gold foil? Oh, I also have some red foil as well. This is usually so finicky to glue, but we'll see. If it belongs there, it belongs there. I'm not sure this works. Okay, so now that I played around with this, I think we're going to lock the orange strip in for sure. Right, so let's glue this down. Now I'm just applying the glue only to the elements I'm going to, stick onto it. So for now only to this small bit of orange paper, which it's actually just a part from another magazine really. It's not something that I printed, it's just, again, something that I found and I love the color and just cut it. Now I'll have to be a bit more careful because the glue can indeed go everywhere. Oh, and the old glue just left some kind of bubbles all around that I'll have to at least straighten a bit. There was too much glue in here. But you can only see that at an angle, weirdly enough. Let's see how we're going to put this. I think this is good. A bit higher. Okay. I usually put this paper towel over it because the surplus will go towards the edges and we'll usually just spread across the whole image, so I don't really want that. So anything that is extra will just be soaked in by this. Now for the longer side, and just add pressure until the glue spreads evenly underneath it. Oh, press too much downward. And as you can see, it's sticking everywhere. Yeah, just raising that. Yeah, we raised it, and it should be good now. More like this, I'd say. As you can see, it's pretty unstable right now until the glue will, do its job and harden over time. But it also gives us a bit of flexibility. Let's just do this. And we can cut that later. Okay. Now, the next step is, let's see which ones. I think the corners, right? This and the corner will stay here. I'm going to cut this excess right here that's not very straight, so that it will be more flat against our image. Now, collages have a very, controversial, take in the art world, because you could say I'm just copying artworks, right? It's in a sense a form of remixing. So we're not straying too much from what the AI is doing, right? But I think with the collage, the beauty of it comes from, knowing what to overlap. Your creative input is the composition itself. It's the choices you make. It's not, because it's a work in itself. It's labor. Just like somebody worked maybe more hours than I did on, painting this actual painting. I'm working a few hours here. It's been like almost 3 hours now, 2 hours and a half, just doing this. But yeah, what's your take on this? Do you think this is actual art? Do you think collage is a real art or not? I'd love to hear your thoughts on this subject. We can glue this as well. And there are a lot of bubbles that were not present when we actually glued everything. But also, in a sense, this is the beauty of it. It's not going to be perfectly flat. It's not perfect by any means. And now that almost all my batteries almost died on me, let's put the finishing touches on this. I have written something with this golden marker right here on this corner. Honestly, I kind of regret it right now, but you really can't take it out, so I guess it will look like this. It has that handwritten quality now. And I did a lot of versions of this where to put the last 2 bits of information. I think it's gonna be one there, and probably this one here. Yeah, because I have like different versions of it. Maybe do it like this. Yeah, see, like there are a lot of versions of it. Could also try to do this, but I'm not sure it looks as good. What about this? Let's see. Yeah, this should stay here, I believe. It's good like this, and this here. Yeah, let's glue the last part. This is a finishing touch right here. Because I felt all this area was lacking, It was like incomplete in a sense. So let's see. So this is the final touch. I let this dry, so it shouldn't be an issue, but I'm still going to be very cautious with it. And again, I don't want it to spill very much on the edges, but sometimes you can't really control that. Oh, but this looks very good. It's all like invisible. Maybe I shouldn't press more than this. Yeah, this is good. Nice. And the last bit. This is gonna be rough because it's very curled. It's like, this is cut from a paper backing, and it says exposed. This would have worked very well for the eyes as well, but covering the mouth is also something interesting, mostly because it gives that idea of censorship. And that shouldn't really be a case in this day and age, but still happens. So this is another like hidden meaning, let's say, in this artwork. And I think this is it. Now it was actual daytime when we started doing this collage, and as you can see, it's pretty dark outside, but I think it was worth it. What do you think? Now we're just going to add the glass panel onto it, and this is the artwork. This is what we made. I think, I'm not sure if this is in my top 10, but there are some very good ones out there. It's up there, you know, but I feel like this entire area in the end didn't get really too well covered, you know. But all in all, I'm really happy with this look. It has a good design, and let's see how it looks in glass. Oh yeah, this looks good. I'm really happy with how it turned out. In the end, yeah, I'm happy. It has a very striking color palette, and I think that's the great thing about it. Now, as I said, I also shot this roll of film, and if you want to see the results taken with it, go check out this video, somewhere around here. That's all from me. Thanks for watching, and let me know your thoughts. Are you interested in this type of content where we actually do collages, not just film photos? And what's your take on collage work in general? Do you think they're just copies, blatant copies, or are they actual artworks in themselves? Also, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.